Maybe it's stress, maybe it's lack of movement in your life, because in our Western civilization, society, we tend to sit a lot at computers or behind the wheel of a car, and then we sit on the sofa and watch TV. We're tired and we forget to move in ways that are beneficial because our body craves a variety of movement, and if we aren't providing that to our physical self, then we can start to get tense and sore and tight in the neck and shoulder region. That's a common area where stress and tension are carried by the body. Do you ever wake up feeling like you just slept funny, or you don't even know why, but your neck and shoulders hurt? And sometimes the stiffness and soreness can stay with you all day. Well, I have that sometimes. This is just sort of run-of-the-mill shoulder pain. So if you have like disc replacements, or if you've had spinal surgery of any kind, or surgeries on your neck, or if you have like a serious medical condition, definitely talk to your doctor before you try this or any exercise program, just to be on the safe side. I just want to say I'm not a medical worker or a physical therapist.
We don't actually crack backs. It's merely an adjustment. Okay, you're going to hear a loud cracking sound. There we go.
I'm not really sharing medical advice. I'm just sharing what helps me when I wake up with this kind of shoulder pain. Sometimes it's so bad that I can barely move my neck. So if you're in a state of like shoulder or neck pain right now today as you're watching this video, you may not be able to do all of the movements that I'm going to show. So I would suggest, if that's the case for you, just do what you can and go very slow and gentle and be patient with your body if you're going to follow along. This is just sharing what works for me when I'm having these issues with neck and shoulder, which isn't like chronic for me and isn't all the time. And that may be because I actually do these movements on a pretty regular basis, at least once a week when I teach my yoga class. And so I think that helps because it continuously brings prana, energy, attention, circulation, blood flow into those areas. And I sort of work up and down the kinetic chain with the spinal movements and the rest of the yoga practice I think everything's connected. If you can make the whole body a little bit more easeful through any kind of movement practice, then you can eventually ultimately prevent pain and areas of tension and tightness that can become a problem. So thanks for being here. Remember to give this video a like and hit subscribe if you like videos about self-care and being over 40 in life and on YouTube. But I do still wake up sometimes after, I think it's usually when I sleep funny, like my pillow, I'm a side and stomach sleeper, so like if my neck is really, I don't know, on the pillow at a weird angle, then I feel like that can really almost cause like a crimp in my neck. So I will get to it. You might want to have a yoga strap nearby. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use the strap of a robe. So I'm actually going to demonstrate that because I want this to feel accessible to everyone, and I've definitely been there where I didn't have any yoga equipment and I was using whatever I could improvise. So here is a robe strap. These are two belts that were my son's belts when he was like 4 or 5 years old, and I, fastened them together. So that's another prop you can use as a strap if you don't have a yoga strap. Well, we're not going to start out with using the straps. We're going to have those handy though. Just sit in a comfortable position. I like easy seated posture because that's easy for my body, but I know that that doesn't work for everybody. So if maybe it's a position like this, a leg pose such as this, or having your legs straight out, or even for some people sitting like this is easier. So I would say just find a seat that works for your body and feels easy enough and comfortable enough for you to sit. And if you can, root down through the sit bones into your yoga mat or sitting surface so you can lift your heart and lengthen your spine and start to lift your ears up out of your shoulders and create a little space in your neck. And then we can start by just gently, as much as you can without pain, tucking the chin into the chest, and then just gently rocking ear to shoulder, just like that. And if you're in an intense state of neck pain or shoulder pain, this might even feel really intense. And so if that's enough for you, you can even back off of it a little bit and just do the most subtle movement where you're almost barely moving or not moving at all, but just enough where you're just starting to bring a little bit of gentle dynamic energy into the region. And if it's okay with your neck and shoulders, then you can start to move a little bit more into it. And then use your breath here. So if you're feeling tension, tightness, mild pain, see if you can inhale, nice deep breath, and then exhale. And as you exhale through the nose or mouth, see if you can try to let some of that tension and tightness go. So actually imagine and visualize like the pain or the discomfort actually coming out with the out breath. And maybe you can even visualize it as a color. So like inhale, cooling, minty, like blues and greens, soothing, calming colors, and then exhale, kind of aggravated reds and oranges, or shades that you associate with the pain, the discomfort. Now, if you are in like a really intense state of sharp pain, if the movements feel like they're aggravating your pain, then just back off or stop. You could watch the video and you could just try like the subtlest versions of these, but don't push into pain if you're already in pain. Don't do anything to make it worse. You want to keep these joints, these sacred areas of your body safe and protected. So once we finish that, we can start to just lean gently to one side, and maybe you want to reach your hand up with a nice stretch at like a 45 degree. I'm not a math person. I think that's 45-degree angle with a deep inhale, and then with an exhale, maybe even gently using your hand to grasp like the crown of the head above the ear on the side, the lateral part, and just gently use that power of touch, that physical assist to help you, deepen the stretch a little bit through there. And then we can come on back to center, maybe gently roll the shoulders, maybe bring the hands to the heart. Okay. So these movements have really helped me when I've had this type of neck and shoulder pain, even when I felt almost completely seized up and like not paralyzed, but frozen. Like my shoulder and neck region were really super stiff and sore and obviously inflamed on the inside. And movements were really difficult. I've still worked through these types of routines, and it's really helped me to kind of spring back to like being pain-free and having that wonderful ease of movement and range of motion in my joints that I usually enjoy. And I do credit it mostly to these movement practices, this yoga practice. So, try it for yourself, see if it helps. So you got to give it a good try. You've got to try it for a few days, and try it also when you're not in active pain or inactive soreness and stiffness, so that it becomes more of a consistent thing and you can use it as a preventative for neck and shoulder pain. So yeah, breathing, just holding here, sitting up tall, keep lifting the heart. See, the tendency might be to start to slump down after you've been here for a while. So see if you can try to maintain that integrity in the pose. And then come on back, okay? And now we can play with rolling through the shoulders here. And maybe it's easier to do one at a time as well. So we're going back for a few breaths. And then we can change direction as well and go forward a few times. I close my eyes a lot when I'm doing yoga. Part of it is because I think I'm just naturally introverted, so it's easier for me to reference my interior space and tune in with what's going on with myself, my body, and my mind when I close the eyes. But I realize that I'm filming a video, so I should try to make some eye contact with you, and I appreciate you being here. So I just want to let you know that it's kind of a habitual thing for me to close my eyes when I'm doing yoga because that's how I sense my internal space. But yeah, you can have your eyes open or closed, or just do what feels comfortable for you. So yes, we can go forward, backwards, both at the same time, one at a time. Whatever works for your body and feels right, stay with that. Okay, I'm already starting to feel a little bit more ease and a little bit more just like warmth, I guess. Warmth and energy like flowing up the spine into the back of the neck, into the neck and shoulder region, and that feels really good already. So I hope it's already working for you as well. And now we can start to lean forward. Hands can be on the lap or on the side of you, on your dog, whatever works. But we're just arching the spine forward and then we're rounding the spine back. Ideally, you would do this with an inhale and exhale. So like inhaling to go forward, exhaling to round back. And have you ever heard of the term navel gazing? It's kind of another way to talk about meditation. And it's kind of like the idea that the ancient, Buddhists or yogis would sort of meditate in this type of position and stare at their belly button or their tummy region, their navel. So anyway, when you do round back, you can kind of get into the pose more easily if you think about looking down at your navel when you're there, really rounding back. I'll show you from this side as well. Inhale, arch and lean forward. Look up if you can. Turn your gaze up toward the sky with an inhale, and then exhale, round back. Gaze at your navel. Inhale and exhale. And so if you're really hurting today, it might just be like doing these movements in a very subtle way, and that's okay too. Some people call these seated cat-cows. Cat-cow is that similar movement, but usually it's done from tabletop pose on the floor. But we can also do them when we're seated. And where I like to transition here, just to kind of approach this from a lot of different angles, is to start to circle the heart center. So really just drawing your heart center, upper body, torso in some large heart-centered circles. Big, slow, and controlled circles where you're really sort of taking the time to feel into every little nuance of that movement, and you're not rushing through. And then circle a few times in the opposite direction as well, just to balance it out. So like if you went clockwise the first time, or the first few circles were clockwise, then maybe it'll go counterclockwise a few times. I don't really need my glasses right now since I'm mostly closing my eyes anyway. But yes, fun fact about me, I have terrible eyesight. I'm like -7 in each eye, and I'm very nearsighted. And contacts kind of aren't working for me anymore, so I do the glasses most of the time, but when I film these videos, sometimes I just take the glasses off because I can still talk to you and look at you without wearing them. And I don't know, I feel like having an unobscured face and eyes makes for perhaps better connection with you. So, pardon my dog, he's just digging a hole in the bed over there. So, okay, I feel like this is nice because it's a very organic motion, and you can kind of move in such a way where you can notice areas of tension or tightness, and you can notice regions that are open and available to you to move, if that makes sense. So it's kind of a nice way to explore what you can and can't do, what's open to you and accessible to you today, right now, given the current state of your shoulder and neck situation. Some yoga teachers are really, really heavy into anatomy, and they could tell you every single little tendon, bone, little piece and part of the shoulder anatomy in there, what's going on in there. I have studied it and looked at it, but I haven't really retained a ton of it because the way that I approach my personal yoga practice and my teaching is more intuitive. You know, the ancient yogis 5,000 years ago or several thousand years ago, however many it was, they were just doing a practice that helped them using a process of like trial and error to find out what worked for them and what made their bodies feel better and what ultimately helped them into meditation to be able to meditate for longer periods in greater comfort and with greater ease and with greater devotion. And so I'm not saying that I'm on a level with the ancient yogis, but I am sort of emulating or using that template for my own personal practice. And like I mentioned before, I'm in my 50s and it does seem to help me to live like a pain-free life for the most part. Occasionally I do have, stiff days and such, and I think that I even have the potential to be arthritic or to have arthritis if I let it creep up. If I was eating like a lot of inflammatory foods and if I wasn't doing some type of movement practice, I would probably have a lot more joint pain. Keeping up with these for me, their intuitive practices definitely helps reduce like my overall level of pain in my body. Yeah, I've had some of my yoga students tell me similar things, that yoga helps them too. So I do think that it does help. And it's not just anecdotal. Well, I mean, what I just told you is an anecdote, but there are studies that show that a regular yoga practice done safely, of course, can help improve certain conditions like arthritis to an extent. I don't think that it can necessarily cure it. It can act as a preventative, I think, and it can improve existing conditions as well, depending on the complexity and severity, of course. So you need to talk to your doctor about that if you have something more complex and severe happening medically, of course. I'm just talking about run-of-the-mill general aging and arthritis and stiffness that most of us get if we live long enough. All right, so go ahead and grab your strap and see if you can take a deep breath in. Lift the strap up high overhead and just kind of really lengthen your spine, elongate and stretch. Just one of those stretches like as if you just woke up in the morning and you're just saying hello to the day with your body. And then you can start to gently, lean to one side and lean to the other side. If that's okay with your body, you might start to feel a little bit of a stretch through the ribs and the side body and kind of the underside of the shoulder there, moving back into those shoulder blades. And then we can even go really wide on the strap and see if we can take the hands back behind and over front, and then maybe playing with finding like a circle shape here as well. Can be pretty freeing for the joints. It can start to free up that ability to move and loosen up the constraints that might have been there just from lack of movement, even just getting in there with the strap. And then we can take the strap like this in the top hand and offer it behind and reach your back hand behind you. And so I'll show you what that looks like from the back angle. So we're reaching the strap up high, and then the bottom hand elbow bends, and so maybe you're way down here, depending on your level of flexibility today. And you can just take a couple breaths like that. So lengthening your spine, lifting your heart, keeping your chin level with the floor, space through the front body, so not scrunching up your neck into your chest, but allowing some space there, maybe rolling the shoulders back. And then if you're comfortable with it, you can start to play with crawling the hands towards each other on the strap and bringing the hands closer to each other and staying there and breathing. And people who are really flexible or people who do these poses a lot can grasp the hands. Some days I can, some days it's not there for me. So today it didn't happen, and that's okay. It's not really about how far you go, it's about how you go. That's what my teacher trainer used to say, my yoga teacher. So we'll go ahead and Try that on the other side. So take the other hand, lift it up with your strap in hand, and then, yeah, just repeat on the other side. Couple nice big deep breaths here. You can even rock gently through your sit bones to ground into the yoga mat and get more of a connection into the yoga mat. You can even visualize roots growing out from the sit bones into the yoga mat and rooting down into the earth to really anchor you. And then that rooting can help you rise up through the spine, all the way up through the crown of the head. And then when you're ready, you just slowly peel out of it. I'll offer one last exercise here, which is kind of the one that I think of as the exploding star. I'll call it a supernova. So we'll extend the hands out to the side, take up lots of space. Imagine there's a string pulling the crown of the head up toward the ceiling. Take a deep inhale and just expand everything out. And then exhale. We'll pull everything in. Inhale, squeeze everything together. Kind of scrunch and squeeze everything in. Even the crown of the head compresses down. And we're just pulling everything into the midline, into the center of the body. Imagine condensing all your energy into one small single point. And then exhaling, expand. And we'll energetically expand. We'll imagine our whole aura, our whole auric field opening up, being really big, full of colors, bright, shining, expanding, the crown of the head, beaming up to the cosmos. This just allows the muscles to move in a way that's different, that's opening. And it just really helps to relieve that tension and tightness in the neck and shoulder region. There's one more movement that I wanted to show as well. So I lied before when I said we had the last one, because this will be the last one. And this is a really simple one. You can start sitting up tall, take a deep inhale. And then on the exhale, we simply turn the gaze, look over one shoulder. And then we'll inhale again. And exhale, look over the other shoulder. And inhale back through center. Exhale. Inhale through center. And exhale. So maybe you'll notice a little bit more ease of motion when you move into these subtly different poses as opposed to how you felt at the beginning. Hopefully it feels a little bit more easeful for you, a little bit more comfortable, because that's what we're going for, is feeling a little bit more comfortable in our body. So thank you for being here, and I hope this helps you with your neck and shoulder pain. Keep coming back to this routine for a few days and see if it benefits you and if it gets you into a better place and a little bit more comfortable place in your body. So thank you for being here. Remember to hit like if you haven't already, and consider subscribing if you enjoy content like this, videos about self-care in your 40s and 50s and beyond. And I also do some videos about being on YouTube over 40 and over 50. So yeah, check out some of the content on my channel. And I think if you hit that bell thing, you can get notifications whenever new videos come out. I'm trying to publish new videos weekly. And remember, radical self-acceptance will always be there for you. You can do it. See you in the next one.